Welcome to the December meeting of the Unley Council. We'd like to acknowledge the land we meet on today as traditional land for the Kaurna people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as traditional custodians of the Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to living Kaurna people today. We pray for wisdom to provide good governance for the City of Unley in the service of our community. Members will stand in silence in memory of those who have made the supreme sacrifice in the service of their country at sea, on land and in the air. Lest we forget. Okay, apologies, Councillor Rabbit and Councillor Gaffey. I'm expecting earlier this afternoon, having ridden 180k, cycled for that far, and then ran 42k, and then swam 3.8k, and he's not even here. So, we'll see. Probably the planes. Leave of absence, nil. Conflict of interest. Do any members have a conflict of interest? Minutes. November the 24th, 2025. Councillor Brunetsky, Councillor Bonham. Councillor Brunetsky. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Deferred items, nil. Deputations, Roger Antoniazzi. Please. I've spoken with you, Roger. Which one have you chosen? Oh, you've also got, and I haven't met Basil. Is you Basil Jeffrey? Excellent. Now, is Roger doing the speaking and you're helping answer the questions?
I can do, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, now you ready? At 1 minute, you've got to give me a nudge, otherwise I promise Roger I'll give a minute's warning.
To the Mayor, Michael Hewitson, Deputy Mayor Jack Gaffey, who's not here yet, all our councillors, with a special mention to Monica and Michael for the help they've given us, and to the Unley admin team, and a thanks to Aaron Wood for coming out to our meeting on Friday. Thank you everyone for the opportunity to put forward our case, which we say is a watershed case in the management of this lane. There are 5 businesses, 1 apartment development and several residents, 16 properties that rely on Esmond Private Laneway to access their off-street car parking facilities. The narrow dirt laneway in question is in poor condition and it looks terrible. It floods with stormwater. When it rains, has deep potholes which can damage cars and is risky for those attempting to drive or walk on it. Remember, all our traffic and most of our pedestrians must use it to get to their properties, including delivery trucks, refuse removal trucks, emergency services, and by the way, the latest temporary solution was rubble rock. It's okay for cars, but it's poor for pedestrian traffic and it's a trip hazard, and we've got some legal issues looming because of that. Written requests for council involvement from residents started in 2008, and I've got letters here. It is now urgent because the 290 Unley Road apartment is being constructed right on the corner and has blocked any alternate route that we used to have to our private car parks, forcing many clients, workers to park in the nearby streets, which is not in our interest. SCAP also gave 290 Unley developers approval to pave their section of the laneway without any regard being given to an engineered solution benefiting all the taxpayers along the north-south length of the laneway. 290 apartments are due for completion in 12 months, leaving us with a further problem to unravel if they take off, get their money as they're due for their apartments, and then the community solution is not adopted and enforced. There is also genuine personal difficulty being felt by our community on multiple levels. The residents who can't access their off-street car parking facilities, angry clients of affected businesses who make daily complaints to powerless staff with examples of car damage and clients going elsewhere, which is not good for our Unley business development. Health workers who are genuinely concerned about clients with poor mobility having difficulty being able to access their organisation, which may affect their health accreditation, that's Press Screen SA. Dentistry on Unley, who requires ambulance retrieval 3 times a year for emergencies. And also there's genuine difficulty from commercial property owners whose tenancies are threatened as businesses may locate elsewhere at the end of their tenancies due to the ongoing difficulties with client access. And if time permits, please ask me and I'll give you some examples. The benefits of a restored laneway with a durable engineered surface goes beyond our local group adjoining the laneway. There is a wider benefit to our Unley community. Please realise that. Just to pick 2 of the businesses, Press Screen SA and Dentistry on Unley have 6,500 client attendances per year who are City of Unley residents. Both are very well regarded in South Australia for the quality of their service, and with Fairway Forward across Esmond Street and now the apartments who are going to be completed later, it's a thriving, busy little local business community. It's certainly not a backwater. Council is the only authority with the capacity and expertise to take on this issue and solve it with a long-term solution, and we've been at it for years. We're amateurs at this. I'm a retired dentist and I have better time, spent not filling up holes and dealing with complaints about this. Our group has worked patiently and cooperatively with Council since 2015 when a temporary resurfacing of the Esmond Laneway took place. This decision before you tonight, as I've said before, is a watershed moment for our local community. Our group met last Friday and discussed the report in detail with Aaron Woods and our local ward councillor Monica. We as a group are in full agreement with option 3 recommended by admin for Council's vote tonight, and the $50,000 contribution by residents and commercial ratepayers had a unanimous vote, and we accept it. So we just need you to come over the line, councillors, and vote in favour of it. We're hoping that you will vote unanimously. We'll see how it goes.
I have let you... Oh, no, I haven't. It's up there. Sorry, I interrupted. Please, finish off.
That's fine. I've said about all I need to, I think. Okay. Yeah, welcome. Basil, have you got anything you'd like to say?
Really
just quick.
Apart from the aesthetic problem, I've lived in Esmond Street for 20 odd years now, and I can still get in because I have a 4-wheel drive vehicle, but it's an aesthetic problem that when I bring people down they say, hell, we're actually in Unley. It's just a... Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Councillor Gaffey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Apologise for my tardiness. Dr. Antoniazzi, when do you imagine that this would be able to be, that you'd be able to get a group together that would be able to pay the proportion that's highlighted in the options there?
Thank you, Dr. Gaffey. We've got our group together. You're asking when can we pay by, are you saying, or?
If you're trying to put together the funds for this, yes.
That's a very good question, because we're quite a disparate group. So the businesses, I don't think, have got a problem. And again, it's the amount. We don't know. We know the quantum is $40,000. We've got to work out a mechanism with admin to break it up proportionally. We're arguing maybe the CV values of all the businesses and properties and apportion it. So, look, in answer to your question, I'd say a year is certainly before they finish their apartments in December of next year. We should be able to get it all together. For some people who probably have financial difficulty and, paying that particular amount. But I don't see, it's not going to be sheep stations. We spent nearly $11,000 3 months ago on temporary repairs. It's a waste of money. So anything that's a permanent 30-plus year solution, well engineered, is a bargain in my book, and most of the other people feel the same.
Councillor Russo, thank you.
A question through the chair. So from just what I was hearing from you, and I guess some qualification around funding, the support is there from all residents and business owners in regarding to the solution of option 3, and that's what you're all supportive of, which means equally the payment for that's part of it, because they're agreeing to contribute to that part of it as well financially.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Councillor Crabb.
Question for administration. I'm just curious if...
No, we do administration questions
Afterwards, right.
when we get to the item. But don't let me forget you've got a question. Okay, thank you, gentlemen, very much indeed. And well done on your timing. Okay. The next item is reports of committees, and there are none of those. The next item is stage 3 of the Wattle Street Sparkles concept design and study next step. Because there's just that item before we get to the private laneway, I'll go straight on to item 4.1. I'll do it in the order of the agenda. Thank you, Councillor Bond.
Okay, I am happy to support the option 1 recommendation that is up on the screen at the moment. As we know, the Wattle Street part of the Wattle Park Mitchell bike route has been brought forward because of the critical incidents, including a fatality and 2 injuries on this section of the route. So, in my view, option 1 is a sensible first step toward creating a safer east-west route in a very difficult road environment. As noted in the report, the traffic speeds out of peak times are over 50 kilometres per hour for collector roads, and this, together with cyclists currently being expected to cycle in the car door zone, makes a particularly dangerous environment. Narrowing the traffic lanes as recommended has a precedent in the work done by the City of Yarra in Victoria, as well as stated in the report, in Adelaide in Pirie Street. I'm quite satisfied that the limited nature of option 1 doesn't warrant going out to consultation, and I've already had several people comment favourably to me on the improvements already implemented adjacent Sunrise School, and option 1 simply extends the line markings along Wattle Street. So I'm satisfied that the funds allocated for consultation can be redirected to detailed design. We've been criticised for it taking so long to implement improvements at Sunrise School, so I think it's reasonable to move very quickly on option 1. I agree with administration that the more expansive options 2 and 3 should be considered when Wattle and Fisher are due for renewal. So I'll leave my comments there.
Thank you. Councillor Preletsky.
Yes, look, this is a well-crafted piece of work by Tanya Butchick. My view is that option 1 is the obvious option. There are several schools along Wattle Street, and the treatments proposed in option 1 will be important to slow traffic with the narrowing of car lanes, and it also encourage cycling to and from school and for cyclists in general. One of the main risks for cycling along Wattle Street, as you know, is being doored, and there's always that worry when you go up and down that road. The treatments around Sunrise Christian School look really good in terms of safety, and an extension of those treatments along Wattle Street will deliver greater safety benefits to cyclists generally. Whilst the 0.5 buffer lane between cars and bikes does not eliminate risk, it's a lot safer than no buffer, and it alerts drivers that there are bike lanes beside the cars along there. The cost of $450,000, which invariably is supported through external funding as well as us, will be good value to achieve an east-west bikeway. The other options, in my view, should be dismissed out of hand. Option L1 of a raised separated bike lane would result in high costs and works that wouldn't deliver the outcome of S1, and it'd have a really detrimental impact on the aesthetic of Wattle Street. Similarly, for option L2, in my view, that would just confuse cyclists. I totally agree not to go to consultation, as Councillor Bonham has already stated, for a design that has no material impact on the properties along Wattle Street. And it's important to remember that this infrastructure provides a broader community benefit, and that is what the overriding factor should be here. It's our responsibility to ensure that each ratepayer dollar is spent wisely, and that a better use of the $10,000 would be, as Councillor Bonham has also stated, to fund engineering works.
Okay. Any other speakers? Councillor Gaffey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Look, I'd just like to agree with the previous comments. I think this is a sensible option that has been presented there to safely deliver cycling lanes along these roads and provide the community with an improved way of getting east-west and trying to improve that connectivity. I also note the comments from Councillor Brunetsky that this is a cost-effective manner in which to do so, and it's something that we should always look at there. Unley doesn't have an endless amount of money to spend on infrastructure. Considerations by this chamber and those in the future must identify options that benefit the community as a whole, but do it in a cost-effective way. We need to make sure that we select the right sorts of options and help provide the priorities for this administration. We need to be judicious with the spending of money. I note that the other options might appear safer, but I also agree that there appears to be some level of concern that would have an impact on the community as a whole. And so I believe that this option provides the best value for money. And I agree that consultation in this instance is probably a little bit overworked, and there may be other areas where we may need to go out to the community, but this is pretty much a straightforward option for this chamber.
Okay. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you. I've just got a question for administration through the chair. Wattle Street has the trees in awkward spots. Is there a plan to remove trees in this project?
Through the chair, there's no intent to remove the trees, but the part of this more detailed investigation is to do a plan throughout the whole section. So, there may require some curb protectors to be shifted, but at this stage it's not intended to remove any trees. But if we were to, we would put that to council before we proceed.
No other speakers? Okay, I'd like to say just a few words. One, the most important safety thing is just to separate the bikes, the cars and the opening doors, and this does that the best way possible. But very close behind, the second most important thing is to reduce the speed from 50 km an hour where you're dead when you hit. And the CEO is joining me in January to meet with the Minister to fight for our 40k on our roads, and that will make a huge difference. With 40k on this road, I believe this, I agree with Councillor Brunetsky, it's superior to splitting up and having on foreign roads, different bikeways and other options, I think are all second rate to one where a user coming along to use it, it's obvious it's the way other cycle lanes work and you don't get lost, and with 40k an hour we can make it safe, and the impact on everybody involved in a death on Wattle Street is huge. And we can avoid it, and we shouldn't be consulting over something which is a downright safety issue. Move it, please.
Yes, I'll just reiterate that narrowing the lanes will actually also have the effect of reducing traffic speeds. So that is going to be a benefit here, but I certainly endorse the overall move to 40Ks along this road. I also want to say that as per the report, this is viewed as a short to medium term, and when the roads, when Fisher and Wattle are up for renewal, well beyond this council term, probably in 10 or so years' time, that's when council can come back and revisit options 2 and 3 and have the discussion about it at that point in time. Because complete physical separation is much safer, but that is a debate for down the track. I hope you'll join with me in endorsing this motion.
Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Now, item 4.2, Councillor Brunetsky. You might want to switch your light on.
Yes, I'd like to move option 3. Whilst I don't want to restate everything Roger Antoniazzi has said, I think there are several matters that really need to be restated. First of all, the issues around the resurfacing of Esmond Street Laneway have been ongoing for a long time without resolution. The laneway did not pass to beneficiaries after James Jenkins died in 1877, which means that there is currently no legal owner. There are 16 private and business properties that line the laneway. When the laneway was last resurfaced in 2015, that work was funded by business owners and residents and council. The project management was provided by council, however, the resurfacing work undertaken was not built to last. Councillor Abbott put forward a motion in September in 2024, last year, to investigate options to address the issue of the privately owned laneway between Esmond Street and Fashoda Street, Hyde Park. So here we are to consider the next steps. So what has been attempted till now? In addition to council resurfacing the laneway in 2015, residents and business owners, as Roger has mentioned, have laid rubble in the potholes. Well, it was Roger who organised that. As Roger has stated, he paid more than $10,000 in June this year only on temporary laneway repairs, which lasted 3 months after being washed away down Esmond Street. The job was disputed and the contractor then laid ballast rock. Whilst the ballast rock is functional for cars, it isn't appropriate to walk over, particularly for those with walking aids or cyclists, and is definitely a poor interim solution. Furthermore, the rocks create problems with stormwater runoff, particularly in times of rain deluges, which has happened. By the time the ballast rock had been laid, damage had been done to fronts of cars, and great big potholes aren't really wonderful for car suspension either. Worse still, there is the public risk to patients and business customers walking to and from the car park. And I know that Roger has stated, but I think that needs to be restated. It's completely unacceptable for frail older people to negotiate potholes and ballast rocks in the laneway to get to Breast Green, for example, let alone the dentist or the hairdresser or other businesses there. The main requirement to sustainably deal with this issue is leadership. Leadership by those who have the skills, knowledge and experience to implement a solution that is built to last. This means legally taking over the laneway and resurfacing with bitumen, which will last 35 years, and creating a spoon drain, which will last 70 years. The landowners along the laneway simply do not have the skills, knowledge and experience to do this, as Roger Antoniazzi has already stated. The last 20 years proves this. Also, strictly speaking, whilst there is a right-of-way along the laneway, business owners and residents do not have jurisdiction to do anything to the laneway. They don't own it. That leads to the question of timing to resurface the laneway. The resurfacing of the laneway cannot be undertaken until the high-rise at 290 Unley Road is completed. The site manager, who was at the meeting on Friday, stated the completion time would likely be at the end of 2026 and that funding from the development will be allocated to the laneway. It is possible that the laneway could be offered up for resurfacing by the developers 2 months before completion. This gives time for administration to work through the model for financial contributions by landowners and to source the funding. There is great goodwill by Roger Antoniazzi and members of the Laneway Committee to work with Aaron in order to source the funding from the landowners. In relation to community benefit, a lot of the City of Unley residents access Hyde Park breast screen, 2,500 in fact. Almost 20% of Hyde Park's annual screening volume are residents from the City of Unley. The participation rates of people from Unley, Parkside, Goodwood and Millswood have been one of the highest participation rates in the nation of around 60%. Access to the clinic is a key aspect to this participation.
Your final sentence.
Can I ask for more time?
You can ask for more time. If there's 2/3 the members, please indicate if you're happy to grant more time. Yes, you've got more time. You've got a further 3 minutes.
Okay. And that access should be safe for the wide range of ages catered for at the clinic. In relation to other essential medical services, 3,534 ratepayer patients use the laneway to access car parking to go to dentistry on Unley annually. There's a real community benefit to having an accessible car park. Several other businesses are also affected by the current laneway situation, as Roger has described. There are many consequences of not taking over the laneway. The state of the laneway has an adverse impact on property values for those with a right-of-way access through no fault of their own. There's an adverse impact on non-medical businesses too, and there's an economic development, such as a hairdresser losing their customer base. The safety risks to individuals using the laneway will continue. In terms of budgeting for this project, the cost of undertaking the works is estimated as $100,000. This is an outer dollar figure. There's a good chance it will come in up to $20,000 less than that. This is indeed a watershed moment, as Roger said. It's now time to future-proof this laneway and provide the leadership to resolve a problem that has gone on for far too long and will continue if Council doesn't step in.
Thank you. Councillor Finos.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. I'll be seconding this motion. I'm pleased that this motion has finally been introduced to the Chamber, as it represents a significant step forward resolving ongoing concerns. Having served as Chair of Unley Road Association for many years, I'm well acquainted with the persistent challenges faced by this laneway. Despite numerous discussions and efforts, progress towards a constructive resolution has been limited, highlighting the need for a comprehensive approach. Throughout my time, I've engaged with many of the affected traders, including a business owner who resides above his own premises. It has become increasingly clear that the viability of some businesses is at risk, as described by Roger this evening. And their continued operation at this location is now under serious consideration. Addressing these issues is crucial for the economic sustainability of the area. I commend the dedication of Aaron and his team for exploring various options aimed at benefiting all stakeholders involved. Their efforts demonstrate a proactive approach to problem solving and community engagement. Based on these considerations, I will be supporting option 3, as I believe it offers the most promising path forward to resolve an ongoing issue and support the local business and community.
Councillor Gaffey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I agree with the previous speakers. This is a problem that has been grandfathered to us by previous councils. It's a laneway which is essentially a liability that's lapsed into an orphan type arrangement where no one's responsible for the ownership nor the upkeep. The question arises where the council needs to take action in this space. To what benefit is it if council decides to act here and even contribute funds to a problem that essentially is one of private ownership? This is answered by another question. What happens if the laneway becomes inaccessible due to its current status? The parking that's available at the rear of these premises would not be able to be used. The result of that is that more on-street parking would be required in close proximity to Unley Road. We note the number of increased heights of the buildings that are being developed along Unley Road, increased people living there and further businesses. The potential for more businesses to be developed along Unley Road. This in turn will increase pressure on council and future councils to do something about parking. The solution here is to work with the private owners to split the cost of rectifying the lane and taking ownership into public hands. This allows for the maintenance of parking to the rear of these premises that would otherwise spill onto the nearby streets. The cost of purchasing land for parking to replace the car parks that could become unusable far outweighs the cost the council needs to spend here. If that is the case, then why does council not pay for this entirely? The reason for that is, unfortunately, the commercial property purchasers were aware of the nature of the lane ownership when they purchased their land. They were aware of the unusual circumstances, and in fact there's a previous council motion that has informed these owners that council would not spend any further money on this issue. However, the property owners have not been able to resolve this issue amongst themselves, but that does not mean that council needs to step in and pay for the entirety of the project. It simply means that we will assist, but the owners must help too. I would request that administration carefully monitor the time limit for a negotiation and approval. A future council chamber may reason differently, and the property owners should be motivated to make sure that this is properly negotiated prior to the next council. I note that the east-west part of the laneway will still require some resolution from those adjacent owners. I would encourage them to work with council to develop a common ownership of that and to help resolve that problem in the future.
Okay, Councillor Crabb, are you speaking for or against?
I've got some questions.
Oh, questions, please.
Questions for administration through the chair. I'm just curious, the report states that the conservative estimate would be $100,000. If it were to be more than that, who would bear the cost of that?
Through the chair, we would.
And a follow-up question, if I may. If one of the residents or businesses, despite the goodwill, decides not to contribute 50% or their portion of the 50%, who would bear the costs of that shortfall?
We need to give that some thought, but I would assume the rest of the business owners or residents.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Bonham.
Yes, I'm happy to support this for the reasons that have been put forward in the chamber, but also I think quite a convincing report from staff. I did have a question. My doubts that I spoke to staff about were around the financial arrangements, and they were clarified and resolved, but also the east-west lane. I was concerned that once we'd actually constructed the north-south lane, there might be advocacy for the east-west lane for council to take responsibility for that. But I have been assured that owners of the properties along there are very happy to maintain ownership or to maintain care of that it's fairly minimal maintenance that they have to do, and there certainly isn't a question of owners actually then advocating for council to take control and responsibility for that east-west lane. So I'm quite satisfied with supporting this.
I guess the CEO would like to clarify probably what I would say, but off you go.
No, I wasn't. Through you, Your Worship, just for those that just to reinforce what the report says, that we're talking about the north-south lane from Esmond up to the bollards. The bollards will remain in place, and we would not be doing any work south of the bollards.
Question?
Councillor Russo.
Question through the chair. In regarding to the laneway that obviously is just purely for residents, apart from obviously obtaining the cost to contribute that, will council be assisting that community in regarding to its legal obligations and what type of legal, whether it's a community corporation, because that laneway becomes then private property or whatever, or what the legal ramifications, I guess, is what I'm asking about for its upkeep, and what title it comes under then in regards to for landowners there.
Thanks, Jane. Aaron?
Through the chair, so the north-south portion of the laneway will be a public road, and the remainder will stay in no ownership. In no ownership, it'll still have, no legal owner. But then it's up to the residents if they want to pursue acquisition through the Lands Titles Office themselves, they could do that.
Okay.
So from a council perspective, we would not be maintaining the east-west laneway. I think there's gates there already and a few other bits and pieces. The owners, it's purely used by the owners who have access off that laneway. So we're really talking about the north-south laneway, which of course the residents that use the east-west laneway have to use that one as well.
Yeah, that's precisely the point that I was going to emphasise. The east-west one, there's a gate. There's 3 residents, as I understand, that use it, maybe 4. And they're responsible for it because it's essentially a private lane to multiple houses. Like right around Unley, you see between houses a laneway that's shared between 2 houses. And in such a case, council, we shouldn't be paying ratepayers' money on land we don't own. Okay. Councillor Gaffey, question? You've spoken.
Just to reiterate the question that I believe Councillor Rosso made, the question was, would council help advocate for those owners if they wish to take on that laneway in their own sort of ownership
and
role?
Get ownership
to help them navigate that process?
Through the chair, sorry. Yes, we could definitely help the landowners go through that acquisition process.
Just to follow up on my question, I guess my concern is because it doesn't belong to anyone, if there's other legal issues, doesn't have anything to do with the council, are these people aware of their rights, whether they want to acquire it, whether they want to have a community title like you do with laneways between other properties? I'm just wanting to understand that we can provide them with the correct or some information so that they're aware of what they're actually getting into here. That's all. I just feel there's a due diligence on our behalf to ensure that they're aware of those things.
I've got nods from Aaron. Do you want to say anything? The answer is yes. Of course. Mover?
Yes, look, I would be surprised if the costs come in anywhere around $100,000. I suspect it will be less. Though I think the real challenge will be what model will be used to divvy up the finances and how that's all going to work. So that's a piece of work that will land with Aaron, and in parallel, we will have then the transfer of title to council, so they would those 2 activities would happen at the same time. The east-west laneway in all of our discussions has not been the issue. It just has not been raised. Those people need to access the north-south laneway. And as Basil had said, he's got a 4-wheel drive, but nevertheless, that laneway needs to be fixed regardless of what car you have, and for people coming out from that laneway, they've never raised the east-west laneway as being an issue, so that was taken off the table right from the start. I feel in relation to the other options we'll put, I think Councillor Gaffey has covered all of that. To do nothing here is to really abrogate our responsibility to achieve a solution at this critical time when the development is going up at 290 Unley Road. The matter will continue to bounce in and out of council for years to come if we don't deal with this now. So I have to say thank you to Roger Antoniazzi, Basil, Dean and Dennis and all the other members of the Esmond Street Laneway Group. Roger has coordinated the Esmond Street Laneway Group for many, many years. He's been entirely reasonable, thoughtful, considerate through the entire process when others might have given up. He's also borne costs for the rubble and ballaststone that has been put in place just to find a solution. Not a good solution, but still better than what there was just leaving the potholes there. So it's been a stressful matter to deal with for so many years. It's now time to future-proof this laneway and provide the leadership to resolve a problem that has gone on for far too long.
Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Next. Thank you. There's not two sides as this, it's unanimous. As Mayor, sometimes I've got to stop the two sides from having a go at each other. So that's why we don't do it. Okay, thanks. 4-3, Councillor Gaffey.
Thank you, Your Worship. This motion essentially addresses...
Wait a minute, let's get the motion up there first.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Sorry. Okay, it's a long motion. Yep, that's right. Okay, thanks, Councillor Gaffey.
Thanks, Your Worship. This motion seeks to address the requirements that the South Australian Government has to increase the height limits for retirement developments within the state, helping to better align with the broader needs and the strategic priorities of the state. South Australia itself faces a rapidly ageing population with growth in the 70-plus age bracket outpacing those of younger cohorts. This demographic shift is placing increased pressure on the supply of suitable, accessible and well-located retirement housing, allowing for modest increases in height limits within established suburbs such as Unley, where we have essential services, transport and health facilities also concentrated, enables a more efficient use of scarce urban land while supporting the state's goals for sustainable and compact urban development. The higher density retirement accommodation near these key services additionally reduces reliance on cars, improves social connectivity and supports healthier ageing. For the state government, promoting infill development over an urban sprawl is a continuing priority, helping to lower infrastructure costs. Unley is uniquely positioned to help contribute to this sort of outcome. However, as we normally do, we try and taper it or tailor it for Unley. And so you'll see that this motion has also included several things, which is maintaining the 30-degree building envelope and the 15-degree tree canopy cover that has been essential as part of the developments that we're looking for that will fit within Unley. The next part also of this motion is that making sure that the government understands we're willing to explore the option of these amendments, but we're also looking specifically at these three sites that were listed in this motion there, rather than, I think it was 5 or 6 that were in total there. So it's a motion that is tailored towards Unley. It delivers what the state government is looking for and increases the amount of potential aged care or retirement living within Unley itself.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm more than happy to second this motion. It is indeed important, actually imperative, that we maintain our focus and to continue promoting the keys to our planning parameters in our conversation with the government, the Minister and the Department. That includes, as written in this option, 15% tree canopy. and the 30-degree building envelope. Hence the particular motion that has been moved. That's where it varies from what's been put to us in our notes. And this is being borne out in the current planning for growth consultation that we have out now. People I've listened to on that consultation, and I'm suggesting 20 or more in one-on-one conversations, are fearful of how 3-storey or more will impact their properties. The last clause has been redrafted from that, which you would have seen earlier today. The message is the same, but the language simplified. I would implore us to pass this motion.
Councillor Doyle.
Thank you. Yes, I support this motion as well. And it does make a lot of sense for the government to encourage large landholders to increase density on those sites. There's 9 facilities in the City of Unley exceeding 10,000 square metres, with 4 exceeding 20,000 square metres. The council report's very clear, and it notes the perceived clash between the new SRF-SA overlay and the historic area overlay. Council submission was very considered and clear in its recommendations. I agree with the views on page 60. Council does not support the blanket application of the SRF-SA overlay in the established neighbourhood zone historic area overlays of the City of Unley. Exploring the code amendments with 3 landholders based on the development of a master plan for the site that aligns with our objectives will lead to better planning outcomes and less of a, I guess you'd say, clash in these historic neighbourhood areas. As Parkside Ward Councillor, I agree with the assessment of Council's planning team that St Louis is considered not suitable for inclusion in the overlay. St Louis is situated in Parkside in between Foster and Blythe Street with no major or collector road access. It's a very residential area where a 4-storey complex would come right up against single-storey dwellings. And as noted in the report, there are tensions currently between local residents and the facility regarding parking and surrounding streets. One of the properties that was supported in this option is the Resthaven Malvern site. The site has 3 frontages with only 2 residential properties directly adjoining the site, and the street access is quite different to the Parkside site. Council supporting the rezoning of the Lutheran Homes site in Fullerton to 6 storeys seems to have a good rationale provided in the report, but it will have an impact on residents surrounding the site. I'd have to defer to the Fullerton Ward councillors as to how that might look and how that might impact their residents in that area. But I agree with Councillor Palmer. I think it's quite consistent that we continue our push for good planning and our insistence on the 30-degree angle and tree canopy. So I think it's a really good motion and I support it.
Any other speakers? I'd just like, just before I hand over to the Deputy Mayor, I'd just like to thank members for the work you've put into following all this up in the detail. I do know that the expansion of these areas does impact residential communities, and I do know that only Unley Road, Green Hill Road and Glen Osmond Road have got the 30-degree angle. So anybody who's a councillor anywhere along the other roads, like Wood Road and every other roads, who wants to live next door to 45 degrees? It becomes unlivable, overbearing and not good planning. And who wants to live in a city that's for 55 degrees in summer? Because that's where we're heading if we don't fight for good planning, as you clearly understand and are. I'll ask to move it to close. Those in favour? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Next. 4.4, review of commercial fitness and training on community land policy for adoption. Could I have a mover or a seconder, please? Thanks, Jane.
I'm happy to move the adoption of the review of this policy. Just one comment in general, which I think Councillor Brunetsky has brought up previously, and we've been provided information as we go through a number of these policies tonight. I think consistency is key in regarding to ensuring that what the policies actually are saying are consistent across the board, and that, and I think that the points raised about being clear on that templates and what they mean. It's great to have a template, but if people don't know what to write in them or are writing things in there that they're not clear about, I think that then the policies are not consistent across the board, which means they might be doing things. My understanding also of policies is the shorter the better at the end of the day, because a policy is us to guide and be guided by the overarching requirements, which are usually linked to some form of legislation or anything, where the procedural aspects or the delivery of these policies is done in a procedure or a SOP or whatever, or set of guidelines. So I think the more consistent approach for each of these policies, the better. So really, most of these policies are tidying up what's in place, making sure they're still relevant and so forth, and it's a fairly straightforward process for them to come here to council as part of our due diligence to ensure that we've got suitable policies acting upon what we're legislatively required to do. It used to be my day job writing policies, so I don't look at these favourably, so the people have to do them. But other than that, the fact that we do have good policies in place is good. So in regards to this one, just simply moving the recommendation that's been put forward. I don't have any further comment.
Councillor Brunetsky.
Yeah, look, I won't go over what Councillor Russo said, but yes, absolutely. Reading policies is boring, and the tighter the policy, the more readable it is and clearer it is, the easier it is to follow. So I think there's some work that could be done there, and I won't go into any more of that. And that can be sort of dealt with under clause 3 of each of the recommendations for the Mayor, for the CEO to cover off on any editorial changes. So the substance is there. It's just, just needs to be tightened up. Yep, so happy with this policy.
Councillor Bonham. Oh, no, Councillor Gaffey first.
Question before I comment, Your Worship. Through you. It says in the papers that this was originally adopted in 2011 and hasn't been reviewed since then. Is that correct?
Who's taking that on?
Page 92.
That is correct, Councillor.
Thank you. I imagine there will be a few, I'll speak now, Your Worship, there'll be a few policies that will make their way to this chamber that perhaps haven't been addressed or reviewed within a timely manner. There certainly seems to be a push from certain people that have presented at Audit Committee to make sure that we go through our policies in a more timely manner. 14 years is perhaps a little bit too long. I think the policy is fine. I hope that we don't see too many more that reach that age.
And there's repetition, etc., that they need a rewrite. But as Councillor Brunetsky says, the substance is there. Councillor Bonham.
A question and then I'll speak. I just wondered, on page 95, it's got document history, so I'm presuming that it has gone through checking over the last 10 years or so. Yeah, good. Okay, I just had a point of clarification that I raised with staff on Friday, and that was, it notes in here that they're going to move to expanding their commercial activities that they charge for, and I simply wanted clarification on when that was going to happen. And apparently that review for that expanded charging is going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months to capture those broader activities like coaching and dog training, and that then will come back to council for endorsement at that point. So I think that's, well, it was worth clarifying for me. So for everyone else's benefit, you may be pleased to know that as well.
Any other speakers? Look, I'm very happy to ask the administration to table the reworking of the documents just for noting, because the substance is there, and I'm sure it can be just referred back for noting, but we could adopt the policy and have it ready. Yes.
Through you, Your Worship, just to clarify, because you've seen a bit of flurry of activity here, just confirm that those policies, so in the case of the commercial fitness training policy, that was new policy 2011, but has been reviewed on about 5 occasions, the last being 2021. Yeah. So that table actually gives you the history.
Okay, mover.
I don't think this is anything really to debate. That's why you've got that table there. You do a policy, reviews are in those versions, it has been reviewed. So, end of story. Whether it needs an overhaul, that's different. That's done at the review time. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's 5 versions here, and this is going to be the 6th. So, there's nothing. It's been reviewed. So, I move close.
Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Next, we are now reviewing construction of crossing places, stormwater pipes from properties policy for adoption. I haven't seen a great... thank you, Councillor Doyle.
Yes, I'll move in terms, thank you.
Very good. Is there a seconder in terms?
Yeah.
Councillor Palmer.
And reserve my right.
Mover?
Close.
Those in favour? Wonderful. Unanimous. Next, review of land under roads policy for adoption. Councillor Brunetsky.
Move in terms.
Is there a seconder? Oh, lots. Councillor Hughes, you haven't featured, so we'll put you in. Mover?
Close.
Those in favour? Unanimous. Okay. That's a review under that. Review of graffiti removal policy for adoption. Can I have a mover? Councillor Brunetsky.
Yes, I'm happy to move. There's just a teeny-weeny little change under 6.2. It says council will coordinate and administer a community volunteer graffiti removal program to assist in creating a graffiti-free community environment. Could I just put the clause in as required? Otherwise, it looks like we're writing a policy for something we're going to do in the future. So just as required.
I'm happy to accept that as the motion.
It's minor editorial under clause 3.
As editorial will be done.
Yeah.
Okay, second, yes, Councillor Russo.
Yeah, this was one of my favourite ones when I reviewed this many years ago. So, yep.
Okay,
second
right, please. Thank you. Mover? Those in favour? Unanimous. Okay, now we're up to 4.8. Wait, I'll click on it. 4.8, review of nature strips policy. Somebody from the side, perhaps? We've got a mover. Councillor Crabb. Thank you.
Happy to move in terms. Thank you.
Somebody else. Seconder. Councillor Palmer. Thank you. Mover.
Close.
Those in favour? Unanimous. A review of public arts policy for adoption. Councillor Hughes.
I've got my light on.
Oh, go on. Councillor Doyle, all right. You got it
Yes.
right.
I will very briefly just congratulate City of Unley on its history in the space of public arts. It's a very important policy and very powerful. We talk a lot about the financial assets of our city, but the cultural assets are equally as important. So congratulations to City of Unley and Matthew Ives.
Councillor Hughes? Yeah. Second, any other speakers? Councillor Brzezinski?
Look, this is one policy I think is really well written. You know, it's clear, it's chunked, it's well done and easy to follow. So thank you for that, Matthew.
Wayne deserves as the author here, Wayne Hutchison, City Manager Operation, or is it you, Matthew, who wrote it? Good, thank you. Nice to have it well written. Mover?
Close.
Those in favour? Unanimous. I better check. Those in favour? I didn't really look. Yes, unanimous, thank you. Section 27, 270 review of Unley Oval fence. Could I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Russo.
Yes, I'd like to move this item regarding, it's fairly straightforward, the evidence thing. I'd like to note that the community has a right, I guess, under Section 270 to question procedures and so forth of council. In this instance, the council reaffirms its decision to construct the permanent fence round the oval and the action that we took in consultation involving the community and the works that have been done were extremely thorough. If anything, this proves that, and regarding that there was no evidence to suggest that somehow elsewhere was the case. My concern, though, is through the chair, is that the cost to council in regards to going through this process due to I guess a community member not happy with or questioning, I guess, processes in regards to that. So do we know the cost of that?
Councillor Russo, the answer is no, because it's ongoing. However, I've got a question which I have put on notice because I thought that our community ought to know the price we pay. And can you read out my question? Because I put it in writing and I've submitted it. It's for next month. Yeah.
So in regards to the particular cost that this Section 270 review was undertaken by council, that cost is a separate matter that is going to be dealt with or brought back to council. Is that?
Yeah, I've got it on question on notice next month to get the cost of the external cost we're paying and the internal staff cost.
So just for clarification, this matter as presented tonight here is actually closed. The 270 review has been done, it's been finalised, and that is the end of it. So I guess I'm just a bit unsure about what else needs to be done, hence the question about then what was the cost.
Okay, just listen, staff. We have not been invoiced yet. This matter has been closed, so I think that's a simple answer. Once we get the invoice, we'll certainly be able to report back on that.
Thank you. That's all. I was getting clarity. So, so based on that, I'm happy to move that this report is accepted by council, and hopefully this ends, I guess, this aspect of questioning around the Unley's oval fence and our decision making.
Thank you. Councillor Finos?
I'll be seconding the motion. I'll reserve my right.
Councillor Bonham?
I won't be supporting this motion. I have concerns about the process and various findings of the review. I will restrict my comments to just 3 issues. Issue 1, I believe there's been a limited and selective review of the background materials. For example, point 25 of the reviewer's relevant facts, the reviewer draws on the minutes of various council meetings to argue council has demonstrated effective public engagement. However, the sample of minutes provided in attachment 5 hasn't included the failed amendment from the meeting of 28 April 2025, which sought to include a direct no-fence option in the Stage 2 consultation. Failing to include this failed amendment and failing to explain how this failed amendment fits with effective public engagement fails, in my view, to engage with all relevant facts and undermines the rigour and authority of the review. My second issue, point 31 of the reviewer's relevant facts, the reviewer states that the matter of gender comparison was considered because it was included in the Stage 1 consultation report. The reviewer appears to conflate reporting with considering. To consider something is to give it careful thought. It's unclear how the reviewer came to the view that gender was given careful thought by elected members when making their decision. The reviewer doesn't identify instances of councillors speaking to the matter and explaining why they did not see gender differences as an issue. And to my knowledge, the reviewer did not interview elected members on this particular issue. Further, the reviewer has not addressed the shortcomings identified in the applicant's letter that council failed to conduct a women's safety audit or assessment as part of their process or seek independent expert advice on the safety concerns raised. My third point is at point 28 of the reviewer's relevant facts and point 35 of the findings. The reviewer states that incorrect information about the role of volunteers was addressed by the Mayor and was before the meeting as part of the decision-making process. The reviewer directs readers to attachment 9, which is a short excerpt of the meeting transcript. However, it seems the reviewer missed a later point in that same meeting when a councillor restated the misinformation about the volunteers. This restatement suggests that some councillors were still confused about whether it was volunteers or council contractors that erected the temporary fence. Given this obvious confusion, the Mayor did have a role in correcting the record a second time, but failed to do so. I do expect a more thorough review would have identified and addressed this issue. While the reviewer may have found elements of our processes were in order, I'm concerned that the reviewer could not provide a single point of advice on how we could have improved our processes. The same reviewer certainly provided such advice when completing the Section 270 review relating to our parking management consultation. Having given this review careful thought, I find there are too many shortcomings to accept the report and endorse the motion before council. I'd also like to add that it is absolutely the right of every member of our community to apply for a Section 270 review and for council to take up the opportunity to have that review to better our processes.
Okay. Any other speakers? Mover?
In closure, all I'm saying is that the process has been done. I believe the right authority in regarding to who's undertaken the review, it has been done thoroughly and the findings have been presented. So I'll be supporting this.
Those in favour? Those against? I'll call a division. Those in favour, please stand. Thank you. Okay, next. East Waste Register of Interest, 411. Have I got a mover? Thank you, Councillor Palmer.
Yes, I'll move in terms. Thank you.
Good.
I'll second, reserve my right.
Thank you, Councillor Gaffey. Mover? Those in favour? Unanimous. Council action records, 412. Thank you, Councillor Brunetsky. Councillor Palmer, thank you, Councillor Palmer. Mover? Those in favour? Unanimous. No motions for which notice has been given, nil. Motions without notice. Ask members if they have any and expect to go on the record for next month. Questions of which notice has been given, nil, because I haven't given notice because it's next meeting. Questions without notice. Okay, thank you. Mayor's report. Somebody like to move the Mayor's report? Councillor Hughes and Councillor Gaffey. Mover? Those in favour? Unanimous. Next, we've got the reports of members to be noted. That's item 631. Correspondence, 641, just to be noted, I think. How just 641? The correspondence from to be noted. Okay, all done. We're up to confidentiality motion 7.2. 7.1, well, it's 472. Councillor Gaffey. Councillor Palmer. Mover? Those in favour? Unanimous.